are the same. You can also wiggle it a little bit and the top will come off and you see what is inside. And I think this is the interesting part, because I'm not sure if the younger persons are aware of this, but this is actually a mechanical clock, a true mechanical clock. And you see here, this is the balance well, which has a tiny spring on it, and this well goes back and forth at certain frequency. Now it stops because it's no longer loaded. So basically when you rotate this thing, you have a main spring, a barrel if you want, exactly like one on wrist watches, mechanical wind-up wrist watches. You have a main spring inside here, which simply is being loaded by the rotation here, and then it runs. Obviously, it runs for at most 1 hour, which, contrary to wristwatches, the older wristwatches usually they will run for at least 24, 36 hours. The modern ones would run for 1 week or so, sometimes more. But it does work exactly the same, and it has exactly the same components inside. If you are curious, if you have one thing like this, what you need to do is simply, let me just remember, yes, we want to remove this screw, and then on the bottom, this is actually the ring bell case. This is what it's ringing, and you have the ring piece. This is the piece that rings. So this piece will just go left, right, and hit the case here, the metal case. You can remove this screw, and then underneath you just have 3 more screws underneath this case, and then you remove the entire mechanism. If you want to disassemble it, then you need to remove these 3 top screws, but again, carefully, there is a spring inside. It may be difficult to put back in place properly. So it does have gears inside. Look at this. So if you ever seen a wristwatch, just look on YouTube. Basically, there are plenty of videos with people disassembly wristwatches and mechanical ones, wind up, and servicing them or repairing them or fixing them. But what you see here, these are literal plastic wells. As my camera, it's weird a bit with the focus, but these are plastic wells. On a wristwatch, there is no plastic well. It's all metal, except there was a wristwatch. I forgot the brand. No, I cannot remember the brand, but there has been a wristwatch with plastic gears. Actually, I'm not sure if those were really plastic or some other resin material, because the plastic, it's really just not durable. The well's gears will just wear off. But there is a watch. Maybe Google up a wristwatch with plastic gears, and that had been a watch made by a known company. I don't remember the name. It wasn't a success, not really, I guess, accurate. And again, because these wells or gears are plastic, this is not an accurate device. If it was to run for 24 hours, you would be off by 1 hour or 2, I don't know, a lot, but it's not meant to be accurate, obviously. But yes, it's absolutely, for instance, if you are curious, if you maybe want to try servicing your wristwatch or wind-up watch, but you are afraid to disassemble it, maybe you want to buy one of these and disassemble this thing, and it's not the same scale, absolutely not, but it gives you just the first feeling how it is to disassemble these components. And yes, there are several gears in there. Notice it's simple pins. Wind-up watch will have usually what we call rubies, which are small stones, artificial. It's not real rubies, but those stones simply have these pins, have very, very little friction, so that's increasing the accuracy of a wind-up watch. But yes, it's a full watch mechanism, and this is basically, I think, one of the only gears in there. The balance well is actually metal, and you don't see it from this angle, but you do have the center small spring on the balance well. It's a metal spring, obviously, So it does definitely has all the components of a normal watch. So you did notice one thing, perhaps this is just a small little warning. You need to let it run all the way until it stops ticking. You should not try when it didn't finish ticking, when it's still ticking, you should not try to reload it again. That's how it is. I think you will break something inside, or you may damage something. But yes, look at the small balance well. It does oscillate quite fast, so you don't see it properly, but it's interesting. Let's look at the gears here. Not sure if depends on each one. Oh yes, this one you can see it's moving. Too bad we cannot see properly inside. But it's quite impressive. Also, if you are a bit like me, for some weird reason, you just like the ticking. You just want to hear something mechanical, fully mechanical, no digital, no electronics, no power, no batteries, nothing. This is a good thing because the tick is pretty loud, so to speak. A wind-up watch, the ticking it's very faint, and I can tell you an manual wind-up watch, you can still hear the ticking in a very, very quiet room. An automatic mechanical watch, you can almost not hear the ticking on it. The automatic ones are very, very quiet. You need to put them on at your ears. Also, if you want a louder one, mechanical watch, try to get a pocket watch. Those are pretty, loud enough to hear them in a room. But this one is not very refined ticking, but you do hear them very nicely. And the sound does change because it's all plastic, it's not quality. It does sound change when you incline it a little bit, I think.